It's been about 4 years since I decided to turn my life around and begin my journey toward the search for meaning. I believe I've learned a lot and grown as a person. I found the meaning that I was searching for all of my life, but never knew I needed it until it was the only thing that could save me. If you are following a path of improvement, whatever it may be for you, or you struggle with finding meaning and developing goals, then you've come to the right video, as today I will share my experience of trying to improve for the past 4 years and share what I've learned. Before we get into this video, I don't claim to know everything and there's a long road still ahead of me, but I just wanted to tell you my side and perhaps help some of you out there who are struggling. Let's start with the most important things I've learned. Life is not a fairy tale. Life is difficult with more pain in it than happiness. This pain, however, if used properly, can be turned into meaning, which I believe is the most important thing for a person to have. Meaning will get you through the hard times, it will give you strength to keep going when motivation fails you, and it will set the course for the rest of your life. What is meaning? The way I put it is that it's a long-term feeling of knowing that you are doing the right thing. For men, first of all, I think that it's the activity or work that they dedicate themselves to and is interesting to them. Meaning is also the main goal that you keep looking at with the hopes of reaching it or being close to reaching it one day. When you engage in an activity that is not only fun but brings you experience, skills, and satisfaction, like the time and space just melts away when you're in that activity, that's meaning. One thing that differentiates meaning from happiness and pleasure is that you can depend on meaning. It gives you long-term satisfaction and pushes you to keep going. Pleasure and happiness, on the other hand, whilst seemingly more fun, in the short term, almost always leaves you empty inside and craving for more, never being satisfied. Meaning or purpose will appear and be more demanding, difficult, and provide less instant gratification, but that's exactly what I've learned. If I engage in a hard activity that I know will bring something useful for me and others, if I overcome that difficulty, that just gives a feeling like nothing else in the world. Purpose can be found in a select few things in life, and it's not only in the meaningful activity, but if you are searching for meaning as a man, you need to create that main goal and develop smaller goals around an activity that you're interested in, because that will improve your life the most. I've mentioned this in the past videos about meaning, but I will repeat myself again because I believe it's a good rule of thumb whenever you're trying to find your meaning. Author Robert Greene recommends looking at your childhood and teenage years to find an activity that you were interested in back then and perhaps rekindle it to once again find meaning in it. For example, I remember that I was always creating something, whether it was dumb little movies on my phone, writing and illustrating books that I made out of plain paper, editing, filming later on, and that's how I know that I need to have a creative outlet in my life, and that is this YouTube and my other social media. But for it to be meaningful, I also have to integrate my natural eagerness to learn about myself and other people, and that's why I have to engage in philosophy and psychology. I mix these two things and now I have this purpose. So think about your past and perhaps you could discover what you could be doing now or get hints about potential meaning. If you watch my videos till the end, you always hear me say meaning is always above pleasures, and you might think to yourself that I never enjoy anything, I'm always against pleasures, and I'm always for just always improving, but that's actually not the case. I'm saying that meaning is more important than pleasures, but you naturally, as a human being, and me myself, we naturally crave pleasure, and I don't think that it's possible to never indulge. What I believe is that it's possible to moderate pleasures and also learn to enjoy smaller ones. As long as you have the right balance of doing meaningful work and also letting yourself relax and enjoy yourself in your leisure time, I believe that's a good life. Another thing that I definitely learned is that modern self-improvement is not actual improvement. You have endless books based on nothing, all of them manifestation stuff, hustle culture, and so on. Sure, some of them can have real lessons, but mostly I find the modern self-improvement not very good. What I recommend doing is beginning to develop a practical, good philosophy. If you are a man, Stoicism is definitely the way to go. This ancient Greek philosophy hasn't survived by luck, but because the wisdom in it is so great and it is practical. Philosophy can be endless things, and of course you are free to follow whatever philosophy you want, but I recommend just starting with Stoicism and more specifically reading Marcus Aurelius' Meditations. And while you're doing that, just think if some of the lessons can apply to you. You should read and research many different schools of philosophy and then spend time applying the lessons into the real world to see if it's practical and see if it works for you or not. The key here is to develop something that elevates your existence into, again, meaning. Your own philosophy is actually the foundation of meaning itself. I've created many videos on Stoicism, and if you want to check what this philosophy is more about, more in depth, then I recommend going over to the description down below to check my Stoicism playlist, or just click here, if I'm pointing right, on the top right corner of the screen to check out that Stoicism playlist. But of course, just watch this video first. Thanks. I think that it would be impossible to even think about developing your way of life and finding meaning and a productive activity if you first don't believe that you could do it. But before we get into believing in ourselves, we first have to look at what we're working with. Who are you now? Who were you before? The kid that I was 4 years ago and before is someone who is both physically and mentally weak, who has no real aspirations in life, no real meaning, depends on only other people, acts like a child and is a child, and constantly escapes into pleasures instead of taking responsibility for his life. That's who I was. If you're also in this beginning stage, then you need to identify these weaknesses, your character and your limits. All of this takes time and work, but there are some aspects of your character that you can instantly see in yourself and begin to fix. Actually, there's always something you can fix. If I ask myself who I am now, I can definitely say with confidence that I'm a way better person than who I was. This doesn't mean that I'm perfect or that I don't need to do any more fixing, because I do. I know myself and I know the limits of my personality and my body. Knowing that I'm able to realize that I could become much more. It's just that knowing my current self, I need to develop strategies that work for me toward becoming that better self. I encourage you to do the same, even if you're relatively satisfied with who you are now. You can always improve something about yourself or your current life's circumstances. Also, improvement doesn't mean that once the problem is seemingly fixed, that it will stay fixed. You have to put in work and consistency every day in order to maintain that improvement. As an example, there's always a part of me who likes to relax more than work and is impulsive. These are a few of my personality limits. However, even though they haven't disappeared and I'm always prefer to engage in more pleasure, I learned how to moderate these limits and also how to discipline myself when needed. All of this, again, takes time, and that's the last lesson I want to share in this video. Have patience. When I discovered such thing as self-improvement those 4 years back, and later on when I began creating these YouTube videos, I thought to myself, oh, I'm gonna get this huge following, I'm gonna show everyone who doubted me that I can do this and I can make a career out of this and so on. I will build myself both physically and psychologically, and I'll be a productivity god, I will know everything. Well, maybe I didn't think exactly that, but I had huge hopes for the meaningful activity I did and still do. Well, life will slap the out of someone who is as hopeful and bring them to a more realistic level. That's where I am now. Although I had success both improving myself and the work that I do, it's nowhere near where I imagined myself I would be. I now look at all of this more realistically. I understand now that in order to build great things, you not only need to endure some pain and discomfort, but also have patience. I have new goals that I'm working on, but I also have those old goals that I developed all those 4 years back that I'm still nowhere near to finishing them. I now know that this is just a part of life. It doesn't matter if you think you deserve something or if you behave a certain way, the world will owe you something. No, life will never give anything away just like that. You need to work for it every day, and even then you can never guarantee success. You can only increase the likelihood of it. However, that's how it's supposed to be, and I don't care that my limitations as a person may not bring the success that I want, and you shouldn't care about these things either. We are all here to make our lives better and reach the goals we want, and all we can count on is pretty much to just try to become stronger, try to take responsibility, try to improve. At the end of the day, that's all we can count on. Thank you for watching this video. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and if you want to see a very similar video to this of what I said about what I've learned about self-improvement after 3 years of being on it, you can check out this video of me with a busted up nose from jiu-jitsu. Other than that, remember, meaning is always above pleasures. Take care, guys.